provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello and welcome to the Radical Racing Challenge live on Apex Racing TV. My name is Sam Fitzpatrick, alongside me is Peter Mackay. Mark Tranter operating the cameras, and we are at another classic of American sports cars. It is Sebring, located in Florida. Peter, this is a proper classic circuit, a very unique circuit as well, mega bumpy, a challenge that will be quite new for these Radical drivers for this season. We've gone to some pretty established circuits so far, but this one is really off the beaten track.
It certainly is, and you can see, just looking at this shot right now of Pablo Lopez, you can just see how bumpy it is. I mean, that's probably the bumpiest corner. It's called Sunset Bend, the final corner here at Sebring. And this is really the birthplace of sports car racing in the United States. They've had the Sebring 12-hour here since 1952. It's a properly historic venue. All the greats of racing won here, like Fangio, Andretti, Christensen, Haywood, McNish, you name it, they've all raced here at Sebring, and of course still holds the annual 12 Hours of Sebring event, which will take place next month, and I'm jolly excited for that, both in the sim and in the real world as well. And of course we don't have open-top prototypes running in contemporary motorsport anymore, but not so long ago we did, so it's going to be nice to see some baby open-top prototypes running around Sebring once again.
Yeah, it will be. It absolutely will be. It will be, a proper challenge for these drivers, but I think the guys, on the most part, really enjoyed this circuit. So we should see some high-quality racing, a mix as well between the real-type twisty circuits that we've visited, like Laguna Seca, and also the more expansive ones that we've visited, like Road America. So it should be a nice balance for all these drivers to deal with. We are currently in an 8-minute qualifying session. The standard qualifying session, for anyone who's been familiar with the official series, so you got 2 laps and you got to complete both of those laps within the 8 minutes. These drivers are usually pretty good at that, and will get them done nice and quickly in the session. At the moment though, no times are coming in. It is a decently long lap. Pablo Lopez though looking very strong on this lap. You can see he is lighting the timing board up in purple. 7 sectors around this circuit as he really oscillates over those bumps. They're really going over a particularly big one on the apex there. If he reaches the line, this will be provisional pole at least for Lopez. There he goes, 1.2 seconds clear of Crab, Castles, Kivanio, Largo, Barber and Woodward all putting in lap times themselves. Interestingly, once again, and a massive shame, no Kane Halliburton out here tonight, Peter. It looked like it was going to be such a close championship between Lopez and Halliburton. It could still be with the amount of drop rounds that we have in this championship. I mean, if Halliburton could win a bunch of high strength of field races to finish the season, that could be overwhelming. But that rivalry was really simmering earlier on in the season. A shame that at least in this middle part of the championship, it hasn't been able to explode due to Halliburton's absence.
No, it is a real shame, and it was only so far Kane Halliburton who'd really been able to consistently take the fight to Pablo Lopez. So yes, it's a shame not to have him here, but in my view, Sam, the biggest shame is that Kiki Ming is persisting with his pop art livery. Now, if he'd gone for the Tom Christensen throwback, he would be running a livery of a driver who has more wins here than any driver in history. Tom Christensen has won this race outright on 6 occasions, so a little bit of an error there from Ming in the 5 car.
His qualifying day has been bad this season. Montreal, he managed to invalidate both laps. Interlagos, he qualified well on the second row, I think, or maybe even on the front row, but then went down the order. So Ming's made his life very tricky this season. If he's on second on the grid, then I think Lopez will have a good challenger. Ming, I think, probably the most competitive driver not to secure a win so far this season. Lopez back to the pits. So Lopez not improving on that second lap. And usually we see these drivers improve on the second lap. Already a couple of improvements coming in. Barber up into 4th. This could be open here for Ming to get pole position. He's coming to the line now. Sanchez moves to 2nd. Ming, oh, it wasn't good enough. He did improve, but he gets beat by Lopez and Sanchez in the end. Still got Kynan to set a lap time. I mean, he's not too far off pole position, albeit it would be a massive shock if the Finnish driver could take pole position. But pretty close then, and Lopez will be very fortunate that he got pole position there, Peter, because usually he improves by a couple of tenths on that final lap, but he had enough of a cushion to get it anyway.
Yeah, he did, and a couple of purple sectors, a couple of all-time best sectors here for Joni Kynan in the Dirty Talk Racing car. That's Dirty Talk, for those of you confused by my accent. But Kynan doesn't improve either. That's really interesting, Sam. So I suppose it is, the thing about Sebring is it's quite easy to overdrive. I mean, it's such a satisfying circuit to drive that you really can get a bit carried away with yourself from time to time, I must be honest. And sometimes in qualifying particularly, if you just hit a curb the wrong way, it can really unsettle you. And especially in these cars are pretty stiff, these Radical SR8. So if you just hit a bump the wrong way, then it can maybe throw off a qualifying lap. So I guess what that'll mean is when we come into the race, we need to watch out for drivers making the odd mistake here and there, because running the whole race clean is not going to be straightforward.
Definitely. I've driven a few races along with my BSR Radical Winter Series Championship a couple of years ago, which I won. As an amateur driver, I won the overall standings, as great drivers do.
That's a remarkable achievement, Sam.
It really was. I also won the 12 Hours of Sebring a couple of months later. That really was the peak of my career and life. And I won Daytona in that time. Great days.
Time to read the good, Sam.
Really? I think. Okay. Good time. Pablo Lopez, car number 1 on pole position. Alvaro Sanchez, look at that seeding. 20th seed. Only just made it into this top split. He has made quite an impression on the front row of the grid. There's Kike Ming. Joni Kynan lines up in 4th place. Kynan really improving in recent weeks. There's Aaron Baba, Michael Reinhardt, Ants Castles, Manuel Ray Olago, John Keaveney, Tom Wedgwood. Might be the first time I've seen Tom this season. There's Ruben Rodriguez. Watch out for him from 11th. Paul Crabb lines up in 12th. There's Joachim Bengtsson a bit further down the order. Andres Friedrich, Daniele Pizzo, John McHutchinson, Nicholas Savini, Mikhail Atmaka, Eric Hanoi, expects him to gain some places, and Richard Schaulturen, first appearance for him, and Robert Woodward running out the 21 cars. So yeah, Sanchez, the penultimate seed, but he's second on the grid. That is how much that's how much iRacing he is lacking compared to the drivers around him. So that is a huge effort. Well done to Sanchez. He'd gain 100 iRacing if he could keep that position. Lopez then starting from the pole. We've only got one more driver to get onto the grid, and then the lights will be prepared to go. So it's just Mikel at Matka at the moment, a bit further down the order. He just needs to sit on the grid. Lopez getting to the grid a bit earlier than he normally does. Usually leaves it latest of all. And he got 10 more seconds here for Admasa to get onto the grid. But he has done now. And the lights will soon be illuminating this Sebring circuit. Lopez on pole, Sanchez alongside him. What can Ming do on the run to the first corner? As away we launch. Straight away, a good start for Lopez, who covers off the inside line. Ming is going to be a little bit cramped on the inside there, but keeps third position as Sanchez tries to pursue the race leader, running a little bit wide there, having to take a bit of evasive action. I think also Lago and Reinhardt, as Pizzo, Serini and Admasa as well, all coming to blow seemingly through turn one. That is a very common instant we get on the first lap round this circuit. Other big gainers, so Lager up a couple of places, Paul Stark and Castles, but he's trying to gain one of those places back into the hairpin.
Well, here we go, down into the hairpin here at turn 7 at Sebring, then through the Fangio chicane and down to Cunningham Corner. A really tricky part of the circuit here. You've got to be really nice and late on the brakes into Cunningham, and then round to Colliers, then Tower Turn as well. It's very, very busy around this part of the circuit. Looking at John Keaveney on camera right now in the number 17 car. And then they come onto the very short straight. They come out of Tower Turn, then onto the Flying Fortress straight, named after the fleet of B-17 Flying Fortress aircraft that were stationed here in the Second World War.
That is pretty cool. You can still see some of the hangars just on the side of the circuit as well. So a long line of cars at the moment. Not really many gaps being created, despite the fact that around the middle part of the lap you're going to get a lot of turbulent air, and then you can really let this Radical SR8 sink down the back straight into Sunset, and then also down the pit straight as well. Further down, Crab versus Keaveney. Crab didn't qualify too well, but he's up into 11th place, not for long, and a huge impact into the wall. Wow, that would be you'd be getting whiplash if that was real life. That was a hard impact, and with the brittleness of this car, that will be his day of a massive shame for Paul Crab. And that just shows Peter great exhibition. Oh, as Wedgwood has also gone off the circuit turn 1, but that Crab incident, a great show. Oh no.
That was a huge shame for...
off the circuit, and yeah, they're all sketching across. I'll try to make a point eventually. But basically, it's very bumpy, Peter. It looked like Crab got offline there, hit above that he wasn't expecting, and off into the wall.
Yeah, they call that the corner of 1,000 lines as well, because there's so many different ways to approach it, but there are some, shall we say, no-go areas that have got, they're almost like landmines. You just do not want to go over them, and especially, of course, on lap 1 with the tyres being cold, of course, in the Radical series from a standing start, so absolutely ice-cold tyres and brakes. So it does take, I would say, a good lap for the cars to come up to their best, for the tyres to come up to their best, and that's what just requires that little bit of extra feeling to try and get through that, and a little bit of hesitancy almost in the opening lap. And it just shows you there, Mikel at Maka getting in a big tank slapper on lap 1 into turn 1 with, and then you can see the car absolutely destroyed as well. So let's see what happened to Nicola Serini as well in the 21 car. Oh, really victim of somebody else's accident there, but goodness me, what a carry on, as we would say. But now we've already got some engagement in the YouTube comments. Sam, you'll be pleased to know Jim Hodgson, our teammate in the Commentatore Squadra Corse, is saying he would like to hear more about your achievements if you've got any left to tell.
Well, it'd be a long broadcast. This isn't an endurance race, Jim. Come on. I can't cram it all into that. Maybe more on that later on. I'd like to, sprinkle it about the broadcast. Of course, Peter, you're free to sing about your achievements as well. McHutchinson, after a very good start, down into 15th position, he was up into like 11th, I think, was McHutchinson, so he'd gained about 5 places, but now only 1 place gained. Hopefully he hasn't got too much damage on that car, but yeah, troubles for the car number 8. We're on lap 3 of this race. Quick shout out to SDK Gaming, who provide a fantastic overlay for this series and all of Apex Racing TV's broadcasted championships. SDK Gaming providing a fantastic broadcasting overlay which you can customize to no end. It's also a fantastic heads-up display and really the go-to app if you're doing any streaming. So go check out SDK Gaming if you want to have a similar overlay to this one. I think you can get a 14-day free trial as well. Kike Ming, meanwhile, he's up into 2nd place. He's got past Alvaro Sanchez. Still a Spanish 1-2-3, albeit Sanchez may be Portuguese. I assume he's Spanish, as he's now off the circuit. Does well not to spin, and that is some good work from Ming. Completely undone, as Jone Kainen, the Scandinavian, apologies, not Scandinavian, he's up into 3rd place.
Finish, yeah, that was educational for us. Last time we had Sumuli Kumo in the production booth. Now, just an update on Sanchez. He'd actually made a mistake of his own, which allowed Ming to stroll by, and then Ming's returned the favour with his own mistake, allowing Sanchez to go by, and Kainen says, I'll have a bit of that. Now, Eric Hanoi, good to see Eric still carrying on, because he got there was another car strewn across the track and couldn't avoid it and made a bit of contact, and that car is actually looking remarkably well, considering the contact that he had. So good to see Eric, one of our series regulars here in the Radical Racing Challenge, out there on circuit. Usually good enough to come in and have a little chat with us as well. And I have to say, in that picture, which he will have entered through the SDK app, Sam, that is the most pristinely ironed white shirt I think I've ever seen.
It's you can almost see your own face in it, can't you?
You can, yeah.
It is great. I feel like Eric's profile picture, that's almost like the default manager picture on Football Manager. Where like, would you like to become a manager? And that is the exact Football Manager photo. By the way, I've never played Football Manager. I just imagine it looks like that, you know, very typical Football Manager-esque.
It looks like the reassuring face of someone you'd like to look after your pension for you. He looks like he could get you some good games for retirement.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. We'll have to ask what his occupation is. I mean, maybe he is a pension, someone who sorts out pensions and then coaches a football team on the weekends. Who knows?
And fits in Radical Racing Challenge on a Friday night. How does he do it?
Yeah, what a guy. Michael Reinhardt is going to lose a place to Ruben Rodriguez here. These are the 12th and 13th seeds. I always expect Rodriguez to do really well. He is only the 12th seed, but he is teammates with Pablo Lopez, remember, who is the race leader and championship leader. So Rodriguez is up a few places, and if he could get up into 7th place, that would be very impressive. Any higher than that would be quite tricky, I imagine. But no chance of getting past at the moment. That's those 2 straights, the back straight and then the front straight. Very tricky to stay close going onto them, and it's tricky to go for the move at the end of them, as we have Sanchez going off the circuit. It's another mistake from Sanchez, and with all these off, I can't help but feel they're probably going to cause some floor damage as Sanchez is going wide. Is he just letting these guys go or something?
Interesting one from Sanchez. He did do his personal best on the last lap, so he really is pushing. He was 2/10 quicker than Lopez, in fact, our leader on the last lap around. So he's certainly trying, that's for sure. Oh, nearly catches Kainen there going through the Fangio chicane. Down into Cunningham they go, getting very, very busy. And we know that Kiki Ming's streaky. We know that as the fuel load comes down on the car, he just gets quicker and quicker. We've seen him have so many trips from near the back of the pack all the way through, but he started up front this time, and we could see Kike move forward later on in the race. We're only at 1/4 distance right now. But look who's joined us for the party. Rio Largo in the number 4 car, up to 5th position.
Yeah, and Aaron Barber as well, right with these guys. So many mistakes. I certainly put Ming as the favourite to get 2nd place here. It's just a shame that he's not really able to challenge Lopez, because I'm sure if he got into the draft of Lopez and he didn't make any mistakes, I mean, they're 2 quite big ifs, because you've got to have a very good qualifying lap and then, be on the limit, but not make any errors. I feel like Ming could definitely win a race, and it would be a massive shame if he didn't win a race across the season. But still open for this one, and he's looking quite quick. He was right on the tail of Kine on that last lap. Fortunately for the finish job, he's got a little bit of a draft from the car ahead. Otherwise, I think Ming would have probably been past going into turn 1. Kine, who's yet to score a podium, I believe, in one of these broadcasted races. By the way, thanks for tuning in. About 50 people watching, which is a few more than we usually get. So hopefully you're enjoying the broadcast. And unfortunately, it's not as entertaining as the AOL Prototype Championship, which was going on just previously, as we all found out in the commentary box. I recommend catching up on that one later on. But it's still pretty good, and the racing's been good so far.
It has been superb, actually. Yeah, and it's interesting when we spoke with Pablo Lopez after the race last week. He did say that Sebring was one of his absolute favourite circuits. So I'm sure his rivals would have been thinking, "Oh dear, he's difficult enough to beat, let alone at a track that he really enjoys." And that's been proven today. But the majority of Pablo Lopez's gaps have actually come from the 3 drivers behind, Sanchez, Kine and Ming, actually trading places back and forth with one another and making the odd mistake. Pablo's not actually lapping a great deal quicker. He's just doing it in clean air. Now look at this car here, the number 18, a particular tobacco brand which is particularly synonymous with Porsche and with motorsport. And tell you what, it looks magnificent, those colours on the Radical.
Sure does. Richard Schouteren, apparently he is Mr. SimLab. I think I know what SimLabs is. Do you know what SimLabs is, Peter?
Is it where you know how people say like really, really good drivers in sim racing, they refer to them as aliens because you can never understand how they're so good. You think that can't be humanly possible. Is that where they make the aliens in the sim lab?
Perhaps so. That's a good shout. That's what I'm believing that now.
If you say it enough, with the power of media, Sam, you say enough things enough times, it sticks.
Absolutely. Is it Stockholm syndrome? Is that the same thing?
I think that, yes, I think that's the idea. Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not Scandinavian. Oh, if it was Swedish, then that would fit perfectly. But no, from the Benelux region.
Now, Sean Malloy says they make rigs. So is rigs what the kind of industry term for a sim racing alien is, I presume?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm sure it stands for something. Rigs, isn't it? So, very, very sneaky guys, but we've seen through it. We're not 2 years old. We know an alien when we see one.
3.5.
With the racing, Kivini, I think he just I think Schouteren just lost some places there. I'm not quite sure. I wasn't focusing for that moment, but he's down into 13th place one way or another. You see, that's how they deceive you. All the oldest trick in the book. Kivini now up into 11th place. It seems like the tightest battle going on is back ahead now with Sanchez, Kine and Ming now alongside. So Ming's been working at this one for a long time, and actually he's got the inside line on Kine, and he didn't cover the inside, and that one should be easy enough. Gets it stopped, just makes sure that he gets a good exit, and Kike Ming up into 3rd place. They're matching the leader at the moment. That gap hovering at about 3 seconds, but they have left themselves quite a bit to catch up from here.
Yeah, they have, and it may be a little bit too much, of course, because Pablo Lopez is so consistent. Very, very rarely do we see him making any mistakes. But this is an opportunity for Alvaro Sanchez, because I think he's got just as much pace as Pablo, but now Alvaro Sanchez has a little bit of space He's got about 7/10 back to KK Ming, and if he can maintain that, or even better, build on it and break the draft completely from KK Ming, then he can start to see if he can reel in Pablo Lopez. But it's a lot to do in 12 laps, but we shall see. But if he's got aspirations to win this race, he's got to stay clear of Ming and Kainen, because they will not think twice in throwing a move.
I'm very much just kind of eyeballing this, but it seems as though, I did talk about it just before or at the start of qualifying, how this track is a bit of a compromise between like a high, a tight twisty circuit and a very fast circuit. It does seem as though kind of the turbulent air and the slipstream almost kind of counteracts one another. We saw at Laguna Seca it was near on impossible to get within half a second of the car ahead if you weren't more than 0.2 of a second lap faster. And of course at Red America it's impossible to keep the driver behind. I think on this place pretty much evenly matched. You know, you lose a little bit here, you gain a little bit there. So Ming won't necessarily be able to pass Sanchez, and yeah, he will need a genuine pace advantage, I think, if he's going to get past. There goes Manuel Rey Olago, trying to pass Kainen, and it's going to go quite downhill for Kainen. Ming's just got past Sanchez as well, so a mistake as well, seemingly. They're side by side, both pairs going into turn 1. Can Kainen hold on to this one? Had very good straight line speed there. These cars are all fixed setup, but must have had a very good exit from Sunset. Finally, though, Olago is up into 4th position, and Ming did manage to get that place secure from Sanchez.
That was a really good move from Manu Rey Olago, and I tell you what, Kainen did a great job. It was kind of like watching a NASCAR race there. Kainen was putting it up on the cushion on the outside line and just hooking it around the almost like the wet karting line, and actually making it work, getting a good drive onto the straight, and nearly recovered the position from Manu Rey Olago, but Rey Olago just getting by in time. And as you said, Sam, KK Ming now up to 2nd. So can KK do anything about it? We know that it's funny, it's just as if he just hits the afterburners about halfway through the race, and all of a sudden he just blasts through. So are we going to see that from KK Ming? Are we going to see him mount an attack on Pablo Lopez? Because at the moment, Pablo's looking pretty comfy.
He needs about 0.3 a lap to the end of the race now.
Every lap.
Ming. Yeah, every lap. And you can see on that last lap he was a little bit faster, and that included an overtake. Perhaps he was helped by this tow from the car ahead. But it seems like once he gets ahead, he can't pull away, and actually that gap's increased on this lap. So I wonder if Sanchez is actually faster than Ming, and maybe it was just the draft. Maybe the draft is a bit more powerful than I thought. Sanchez does move back ahead of Ming, and Ming, if anything, just letting go, almost as though that was an experiment to see if he could pull away. He realised that he couldn't pull away, and now he's willing to stay behind, and in order for them to check each other away from the rest. Olago closes in on these guys a bit, but the gap now up to 4 seconds, increasing by 0.3 of a second. So really, from this range now, it would need to be a mistake from Lopez. We really haven't seen a mistake from Lopez all season long. I think he may have had a spin at Laguna Seca, but I think that was about it. And even then, I don't think that cost him a position. So looking very good for the car number 1 at the moment. But will still stay tasty for these podium places.
It will indeed, I think so. And I tell you what, Manu Rey Olago is really starting to get the hurry on now, and really in this fight for the podium as well. We're watching Kanoi, who I have to say, I have never seen one of these. He must have built his Radical out of wrought iron, because most of the time they just crumble into a heap at the first sign of contact. And that was a big hit that Eric took. No fault of his own. The car was just in his path and couldn't get out of the way. But I'm just absolutely astounded how he's avoided that. But he's carrying on. But he does have Mr. SimLab, we call him the wacky professor of sim racing, a shouter in the 18 car.
Well, I was thinking, who's that bloke off Jurassic Park who makes the dinosaurs? He like made a random cameo in like the most recent one. I feel like whatever his name is, he reminds me of him. Very unethical person. I think shout to him. I think we can reliably say.
I was more thinking the kid in Toy Story.
Oh, I think that's worse. I
Is
think
it?
that's
Oh.
far worse, yeah. Being dinosaurs in this world is nothing compared to strapping a toy to a firework.
We do go off on some tangents, don't we, Sam? I wonder if we'll talk about the 2012 Scottish National Ranked Curling Championships again on one of our broadcasts. Well, we just have. There we go.
There we go. There we go. I'm looking forward to that curling trip. That will be a lot of fun. One of our other sponsors for this broadcast is Apex Racing Academy. Apex Racing Academy providing 29 data packs, which include setups, video tutorials, group learning sessions, and also one-to-one teaching sessions from some of the best drivers in the iRacing world. Many World Championship drivers from the Porsche Esports Super Cup Championship, and also the iRacing Rallycross World Championship. And so if you sign up to Apex Racing Academy, you can get a subscription which will give you access to those data packs, and you can improve on your racing. Me and Peter have both been using the Porsche setups, and personally, Peter, I have improved a lot with those setups. It also makes it a lot easier just to jump into a race and have the setup loaded up for you. I assume you have improved just as much as I with the use of those setups.
Indeed so, yes, absolutely, especially with the Porsche Cup car as well, where it's quite a fickle machine as well, and it's of course the car that's used at the very top level of sim racing in the Esports Super Cup. And I even managed to get an official race win. I actually just did a race to warm up for the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup the other day, and I beat Pontus Overstrom. I was very, very happy. Well, I've not won on iRacing very often, hence why I commentate. And and that was with an Apex Racing Academy setup, so I was rather chuffed with myself.
Nice one, congratulations. Pontus ain't a bad driver actually, so that was good work. Chris Cash says appreciates you taking, I'm not sure if you can say that, taking the mick out of his successful business. I'm not saying it's not successful, but it's not ethical, is it? I think there's any doubt about that. So, you're calling out injustice where it spreads. By the way, obviously earlier on Jim Hodgson was asking about my achievements, and I just remembered that Chris Cash was one of the drivers who I beat in the BSR Radical Winter Championship. So I think that's a perfect opportunity to bring up how I won that. One of the rounds was actually here at Sebring, but on the shorter layouts. Just getting that in. That's down to 3 seconds actually now. The gap between the two race leaders, only half a second as well between second and third. So the gap is going down, but with 8 laps to go at the end of this one, not looking too good for the chasing pack to catch in time. But that was the difference on that last lap, about quarter of a second faster for Sanchez.
Yeah, and isn't this, like you touched on earlier, Sam, it's fantastic that for the 20th seed, of course, all the drivers are seeded based on their iRating ranking, which a little bit like a golf handicap. If you have a good race, it will improve, and if you have a bad race, it will get worse. And a lot of it is dependent on the strength of field. So how good is the field that you're driving against, and the better result you have in the better field, the more your iRating increases. So to be racing against guys who are the 1st seed, 5th seed, 4th seed, it's absolutely superb from Alvaro Sanchez. But we do see this occasionally where iRating isn't always an accurate measure, and it can sometimes depend if a driver's a particular specialist in a certain car.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we haven't been denied seeing Sanchez for most of the races so far this season, because he is the penultimate seed. I wonder if he's just been, on the edge of top split. It is, in fact, actually, to be fair, no, I don't think Alvaro. Maybe Alvaro's got that excuse. So Alvaro just gone on his profile, and he was over 5,000 iRating at one point, was Alvaro. However, it dropped down to about 3.5 earlier on in Well, actually, that was last summer. It's kind of been around 4K, so actually, I don't think he has been denied the top spec too much, but he's certainly making a very good impression. I mean, he is a 4K driver. We're talking as though he's kind of our level, but he is much above us two. Us three, in fact, Mark Trent's involved. So he is certainly no slouch, but this is a very competitive field that he is taking on and beating at the moment. Michael Reinhardt onto the back of Serini. I thought Serini may have been out of the race, but no, he is still fine, is Serini. I think, not with too much damage on that car, a little bit of damage on the front left, it seems. But this is the battle for 12th place. These guys completely by themselves at the moment. But Reinhardt, you'd expect, would be the slightly better driver, or would be the slightly faster driver. And he has got a few top 10s so far this season.
He's got having a little lunge there. Oh, that was close. Of course, Reinhardt got a bit of damage at the rear of the car. The front of his car looks fine, whereas Serini, the front of the car, looking a little bit more second-hand. Now, I get the impression, based on the activity in the YouTube chat, Sam, that you and Chris Cash were the Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost of the BSR Winter Challenge of Radicals.
I think Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost were the Sam Fitzpatrick and Chris Cash of Formula One. More like, it was, we've had movie offers, to say the least. Chris was, very good. Not as good as me, but I think Chris may have won a couple of races. I gave away the race wins. I chose not to win any races and just win the championship out of kindness. But if Chris could remind us how successful he was, I certainly remember Chris was in the top 5 for most of the championship. He was very good. It's a shame that Chris isn't out there. Chris, once again, let us know why you are not out on second. I don't believe we've seen him all season, in fact. So, shame that he's not out there.
Sam, have you ever talked yourself into a black eye before? Rather than out of one?
I'll be quiet. You have the mic.
But you can start running.
Yeah.
Norfolk. He lives in Norfolk. You get there, you're within 100 miles. It's all flat. You'll find him eventually.
You'll need a horse to get here. There's no roads.
Riding on board with Kike Ming right now in the Volcano number 5 machine. And right in the draft here of Sanchez. So we're going to get a close-up look now. Once we go over the stripe, with 6 laps to go. And we'll see. Oh, dearie me. It shows you there. You can see the rear end of Sanchez's Radical getting very, very...
What?
Oh my word.
there is a pit stop. Sorry, no, I was being done because this is a slightly longer race.
I wasn't thinking that. I was thinking 20 laps is quite a lot around here.
Yeah. Maybe more time for me to talk about my wins. So 1 pit stop is needed. So, apologies. I did forget about that because it was kind of ordinary, but pretty much everyone would have started on max fuel because it's a fixed setup. So you can't control the amount of fuel that you start with. So that's impressive that these few drivers have been able to go a little bit further into the race. Lopez then has been in clear air for the entire race, so he may take a bit more fuel. He took 30.58, Sanchez 30.9, then Olago 12.9, Kynan 13.0. So Sanchez, despite being in the draft more than Lopez there, had to take on a little bit more fuel. That'll be a shame for him. Now, Kike Ming can have a shorter pit stop, and remember, he was right onto the back of Sanchez, wasn't he, for that entire stint. He might be able to shave off a second off that lead, I imagine, for Lopez. So this is quite a big lap for him.
This is, yeah, and we'll maybe be seeing if Kike Ming is the new Scott Dixon of the Radical Racing Challenge, and see if he's been on the major fuel save with the pink fluffy slippers, as they say. Or we'll see when he comes into pit lane. Quite an interesting dynamic here, actually, for that little splash and dash at the end. I think we'll see a couple of course, the exit of pit lane here at Sebring is quite interesting. You sort of come out on the kind of exit of turn 1, so we'll see where Kike Ming emerges here. So your in and out laps are very important. So when he comes in the number 5 machine, locks it up on the way in. Hopefully got it settled down before the pit lane speed limit. Here comes Pablo Lopez charging down the Ulman straight. And I have to tell you, Sam, one of my most prized possessions is Aaron Baba still getting it going. He's still got the fuel tank stretching. One of my most prized possessions is the Sebring story by Alec Ullman that was published in 1969. It does smell a bit, but I'm ever so proud of it.
Absolutely. That's borderline antique, isn't it? Now. So yeah, very nice.
Now look at this.
Ming, not far behind, is he? He's very close to Lopez. In fact, he's within the draft range. So Ming has a 11.3 second pit stop. That is the shortest of anyone who has pitted. The next shortest is Rodriguez with 12 seconds. So that is very impressive. They can see the transit times for the drivers there, and Ming taking 3 seconds out of Lopez right there. I kind of thought that they'd maxed out the fuel to get to 15 laps, but maybe they're pitted slightly earlier to get maybe the fresh tyres or something. Not quite sure, because Barber is the only guy who's been able to push it that extra lap, and he hasn't run out of fuel yet.
Well, Sam, you have a contender for the most offensive man in the Radical Paddock this week, and that is Jim Hodgson. He has written in the YouTube chat, he said, earlier in the week, there was enough fuel on the setup to save and make it the whole race. So if you were economical enough, you could make it to the end. But this is Jim Hodgson. Jim Hodgson of Atlanta, Georgia, said that Paul Crabb went to iRacing and they reduced the fuel so that there is a stop. So that is a shot fired from Jim Hodgson, who'll be racing next week.
Yeah. I mean, no, you shouldn't tell on people, should you? That would have been so cool if there was that dynamic. So thanks to Paul Crabb for that. I felt sorry for him before for his crash, but frankly, he deserved it after making it so that you didn't have to fuel. So that would have been very cool. It's not been a bad race. To be fair, Paul's probably listening along. Apologies, Paul. Barber coming back out of the pit lane now. That'll be close actually. Is Barber going to be up into 3rd position here against Sanchez? He just about is. He's still offline. I don't want to count my chickens, but they're nearly hatching. But Sanchez is still going to be able to get ahead. But that's a very successful pit stop there for Barber. He was stationed for 11.5, so that's 2 tenths longer than Ming. And really it's gone from that second group with Kynan and Rodriguez to this first group with Sanchez and Olago. So great work there from Barber to make that extra lap.
Indeed, they're coming around the hairpin now at turn 7. Now, my favourite story about the hairpin is Sebring is full of stories. My favourite story was in the 1957 Sebring 12 Hours. Sterling Moss raced in that particular event, and 12 hours is a long time to drive, and he was getting slightly thirsty. So while the race was going on, he actually pulled down to a slow speed, and a photographer handed him a bottle of Coca-Cola, which he consumed on the next lap. When he'd finished the bottle, he didn't know what am I going to do with the bottle, and when he came around the hairpin again, he threw the bottle at the photographer who'd given him it in the first place.
It's like a marathon run, isn't it? Right there. No, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So, how long did he drive then? Did he drive the whole 12 hours?
I would think he would. I think in that instance he did have a co-driver, but in those days they would only have 2, and 2 in a 1950s sports car would have been hard work.
Yeah. Here comes Barber down the inside of Sanchez, so he couldn't get it done out of the pits, but he's got it done through sunset. It's going to be. I'll keep up the birds metaphors. It's going to be a sitting duck here down the front straight. As he goes to the inside tight line, he's kind of got that covered. Sanchez couldn't really turn in there because he didn't know where his opponent was. These are open cockpit, but it's still tricky with the peripheral vision, as Sanchez does just squeeze back up the inside, so couldn't make that one confirmed there, Barber. But he seems to have enough pace for the move here, so still opportunities to pass. Lopez and Ming, 0.3 of a second between them. This is what I wanted from the start, and well, in the end, Lopez just wasn't able to pull away. You know, he hasn't exactly been the fastest driver out on the circuit for the whole race. I mean, Sanchez and Ming seemingly were even to him. They were just fighting with each other earlier on, which cost them. But now that Ming is right on the tail of Lopez, this is a proper 50-50 battle here, and Kike Ming's best chance at a win all season.
It really is, yeah. And once again, Kike Ming absolutely flying towards the end. He's obviously really good on the slightly older tyres as well, because he just comes alive in these closing stages, especially with the fuel load coming down a bit as well. Well, thank you, Paul Crabb, for your politicking at iRacing. It's done a great job to provide this wonderful motor race, and it's catapulted Kike Ming into the fight here, and he's now well in the draft of Pablo Lopez. It will be 2 laps to go when they come over the stripe, and well, we've seen Pablo, he's been on a bit of a charge the last few weeks, and nobody's really been able to challenge him too hard consistently. We did see a close one last week at Montreal, of course, but Pablo's kind of had it in his pocket. But here goes Kike Ming now. Over the stripe they go. 2 to go here at Sebring, and Kike Ming goes to the inside. He's side by side. He's got the overrun. Can he get the move done? Pablo Lopez will try and hook it around the outside and get the run over, which he does. And whoa, dearie me, that was always a risk for Pablo Lopez, but it paid off.
Yeah, that was a big move. Lopez taking a very wide line through Sunset. I'm not sure if that was deliberate or not, but I wonder if Ming will get a much better opportunity to overtake than that. And interesting to see that the bravery there of Lopez to trust that Ming wasn't going to understeer and took a very successful line. As Barber back ahead of Sanchez, but he's left the door open here. Sanchez happy to wait behind. He's going to wait later on in the lap. We've got just a lap and a half to go. This hasn't necessarily been the race where we've seen loads of overtakes, but well, it doesn't really matter what happens for the first 80% of the race. If you get a good climax, then it's all well worth it. Big slide there for Ming, trying to get the power down. And the gap just opens up by maybe a tenth or a second larger than it otherwise would have been. He's strong through the right hand. He'll pick up a draft through here, easy flat through the left in these Radical SR8s, and now it's just a case of keeping your line correct. Don't get too disturbed by the turbulent air. Makes a pretty good job there. He was 4 tenths of a second behind on the last lap here, and this time he's actually only 3.5 tenths behind, so he's got a better chance at overtaking than he did on the last lap.
He does indeed, yes, exactly. And you can see Pablo Lopez knows that. He goes very defensive, moves back towards the racing line, and then swoops into a slightly early apex, but clever there from Pablo Lopez, making sure that Kike Ming, if he wants to go around, he's got to go the long way around. So really making Kike Ming work for this, and Pablo Lopez gets a better run off the final corner than he did last lap. But is it going to be enough? He's tell you what, Pablo is really good on that slightly wider line into turn 1, and he holds it. White flag is in the air, so this is the last lap, and this is a grandstand finish here at Sebring that we're going to be treated to, Sam. Superb stuff.
Yeah, we'll keep our eyes on the leaders, but Olaga has just got past Sanchez for 4th position, although be it Sanchez and Olaga a little bit side by side, they're kind of getting involved. At the moment, Sanchez back ahead. This is brilliant news for Aaron Barber. He might be in for, I believe, what would be his first podium of the season. Gesturing against the inside. Rodriguez isn't going to quite catch these guys in time in order to make an impression. But Sanchez holding on to Olaga. Here comes the move though from Ming round the outside through the right hander. He's going to run out of track though. He keeps alongside. He also compromised run for Lopez as well. And they remain alongside into the next corner. The gap is as small as it has been all race long around this part of the circuit, but he runs wide there, does Ming it. The chase isn't over, but it's heavily compromised, and he would need a dream Le Mans section if he is going to give himself a chance at the move going into Sunset Bend. Lopez once again, just as he has been, sliding through the right hander onto the back straight for the last time, and the gap, which was 3.5 tenths at this point on the last lap, up to half a second now, and the time is running out right now for Kike Ming to make this move. He's probably not even close enough for a dive into Sunset. He thinks about it, but Lopez looks like he's got this one covered. Ming with a massive slide. He'll hang on to second place. But Pablo Lopez survives the onslaught just as he did at Montreal, and he takes another race victory at Sebring. It was a fantastic drive from the seed #1. Ming and Barber round out the podium. Sanchez did beat Olago. Kynan beat Rodriguez, and the remaining drivers were across the line. We've still got Friedrich versus McHutchinson, which is the closest one down there. I believe they might be side by side going into Sunset Bend. As, well, there they are. That's wide for Friedrich, and it will be McHutchinson to claim that 11th place. What a race that was, Peter. That pit stop properly brought Key Gaming back into the challenge, but Lopez, just as he did at Montreal, and just as he has done a couple of other times this season, with that defensive ability, managed to hang on to the race win.
Yeah, that was an absolute thriller, and Kike Ming really played it well with, you know, obviously just that little bit lighter on fuel, able to go that little bit longer than Pablo Lopez, and that really put him in the fight. And of course, Aaron Baba as well. Don't forget, Aaron Kike, of course, leapfrogged his way through to third position, beating Sanchez and Olargo and Kyanan, who really looked like they were in the podium fight. But that pit stop proved vital. Now, this is what we like to see. Pablo Lopez lighting up the rear tyres and giving us a victory donut. That's what I like to see.
Yep, he is happy with that one. Sure, he'll be in for a chat with us pretty soon. That's yeah, terrific drive from the Team Fordzilla driver. By the way, just before we go to the results, quick shout out to our other sponsor, Virtual Racing School, who have over 50 data packs for road and oval racing, yeah, involving setups and track guides, data analysis, and one-on-one coaching. So do check out Virtual Racing School for all of that. Pablo Lopez then wins out by 2.5 seconds over Kike Ming. Aaron Baba finishes in third and rounds out the podium. Alvaro Sanchez, maybe could have been a bit more there for Sanchez. Dare I say he may have been the fastest driver out on circuit, but had a slightly longer pit stop and got involved with a few too many battles, but still, hopefully we see more of him in this top split. Manuel Ray Olago finishes in 5th place. There's Yene Kynan, Ruben Rodriguez, Michael Reinhardt, John Keaveney, Ant Castles, John McHutchinson, Andres Friedrich, Eric Hanoi, Richard Schauteran, Robert Woodward, Nicholas Savini in 16th. Didn't finish, actually, did Savini? 5 laps down. Tom Wedgwood also didn't finish, 5 laps down. The other retirees were Joachim Bengtsson, Daniele Pizzo, Paul Crabb, and Mikael at Massa. Rounding out the 21 cars. Now, sometimes the drivers are a bit shy to come and have a chat with us, but not tonight. We have a driver in for a chat with us. It is Aaron Baba, who joins us in the commentary box. Aaron, congratulations. By my reckoning, that is your first podium of the season. Congratulations.
I think that's not true because I won the last race on Road America.
Apart from the race that you won at Road America, that is your first podium of the season.
Yes,
Congratulations.
yes, thank you.
Sorry.
I had a really bad start. I ruined my quali 2 times. I don't know why. And yeah, at Sebring, if you don't have a good quali, you're stuck. And then I was battling the guys in front of me. But I thought, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. I was fuel saving a lot, and then I overtook some of them in the pits. I had to fuel a little bit less than them, and then I had a shorter pit stop, so that gave me the podium. Unfortunately, I was not able to get P1 or P2 this time. Pablo and Kike, they were way too fast.
Yeah, they were absolutely lightning out there. Talk us through that battle with Alvaro, because that was properly tight. You had a couple of attempts at it, and you finally made it stick. I mean, what was going through your mind when you were racing him?
Yeah, he was a little bit aggressive. I didn't expect it on after turn one. I left a little bit of room on the left, so I thought, okay, like this I can take the corner much better. But he dove in on the inside, and then we had a little bit of contact together. I didn't expect that, but okay, maybe it's his style. But it was unnecessary. We had 3 more laps to go, and with the damage, it was not easy. But yeah, I had only the pit strategy because otherwise it's impossible to catch 3 4 cars who are in the draft of each other. Every car is in the draft of the other one, and it's pretty much impossible to catch them. But yeah, some battles you win, some battles you lose, and in the last 2 laps I had some perfect corners, and then I was able to get the podium.
Did you enjoy the strategy element this week with the slightly longer race, or are you quite looking forward to going back to the sprint races next week?
No, actually, I like the races with the pit stop because everybody has a different strategy. And in the beginning of the week, there was much more fuel in the radical, like 40 liters, I think. And if you fuel save enough, you don't have to pit. So you just take it easy and then you win the race anyway. But in the middle of the week, they changed the fuel levels from 40 liters, I think, to 32. So everybody needs to pit. And this is a good thing. I like it much more than it was before. And yeah, it's for me, it's a shame that only one race in the season is with pit stop because I really like the strategy, the different strategies. If it's a sprint race, then you just go full throttle and then yeah, you win or you don't win. But with the strategies, as you can see, you can make up a few positions, and then it's much more exciting to race. But it's okay.
Next week we have got Bathurst, which
Yes.
will be quite cool. Is it divides opinion that one? Are you looking forward to that one?
Yes, in the beginning of the week, next week, unfortunately, I will not be able to drive because of work-related stuff. But I hope I can, Wednesday or Thursday. I hope I can practice a little bit more, and then on Friday be ready. I like Bathurst. Bathurst is a really cool track, especially in the mountain. It's yeah, it's a little bit dangerous, but it's so rewarding if you get all the corners right and the exits. And I really enjoyed it last season, and I think I will enjoy it this season as well. It's a really cool track.
I think we've had some track voting for next season going round with you putting down your preferences. Are there any circuits that you're particularly keen on seeing on the calendar for next season?
Yeah, of course, Nordschleife being one of them. It's of course, and then my home track, Soldier and Spa and Road America is also there for me, and Bathurst also. So I'm really happy that some of these tracks are in this season, and I'm looking forward to racing these guys on those tracks. I really like them, especially Nordschleife.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun in these verticals. Thanks for having a chat with us, Erin. Is there anyone you'd like to have a shout out to?
Shout out to you guys and to Pablo and Kike, especially Kike this time. He made it stick because I know he's fast, and the last few races he had some bad luck. I don't know what it was. I had it also the race before, some oil on the track, or maybe I don't know. The car just spins on you, and I know these guys are fast. So yeah, shout out to these guys and shout out to you and all the other guys in the radical community.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Erin, and we'll see you back next week, hopefully.
Yes, see you guys next week. Bye.
Erin Barber, their third place finisher. Of course, he won at Road America. How could I forget? It was a fantastic battle. In fact, the last man to beat Pablo Lopez was Erin Barber on that run to the line back at Road America. So another very good result, and perhaps with Halliburton missing quite a few rounds, maybe the favourite for P2 in the championship with his consistent finishes. Peter, we haven't got anyone in for a chat with us at the moment. I don't know what's going on. But Bathurst is next up for these drivers. In some ways, kind of similar to this circuit, I think. Quite bumpy in places is Bathurst, but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I might even do an official race in that one because that sounds tricky. And with these cars as well, it is if you skim the wall, in a GT3 car, you know, you're all right. But in these cars, so easy to bash in the steering. There is no margin for error around the mountain section of that track.
No, there isn't. It's a notorious challenge at Bathurst, and of course you've got two really big drafting opportunities as well. Of course, it's such a complex circuit. You know, the massive straight up the hill, the mountain straight, and then all the way down the hill from Conrod down to the Chase. There's going to be some amazing passing opportunities there. But in contrast to that, on the mountain, like you said, you cannot afford even the smallest brush with a wall, and the walls come out to meet you so fast. And also, the thing is, you cannot force an overtaking maneuver because there just is not the room. It doesn't stop people trying, and I think that might be an interesting point when we get to the round at Bathurst in a week's time. But it's going to be a cracker, one not to miss.
Definitely. Also, it's where I won the BSR Radical Winter Series, so good memories. Good memories. Yeah. Oh, it was 2 years ago, but I'll bring it up. Looking forward to that one then. So Bathurst next week in the Radical Racing Challenge. Remember, go drive the Radical. It is a super fun car. It's fixed setup so you can get up to speed nice and quick. It's a challenge, but the racing is brilliant. A heavy slipstream in these cars, so even if you're a little bit off the pace, you can still keep up with some faster drivers. And Bathurst, it's a bit of a baptism of fire, but I still recommend giving it a go, and you can try Sebring as well for the remainder of this week in the official series. So yeah, go try the Radical. It's a free car as well, so absolutely nothing to lose on that one, and it's got a fantastic community, as you have seen tonight. Once again, big thanks to Virtual Racing School, SDK Gaming, and Apex Racing Academy for their support of all of Apex Racing TV's broadcasts. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave a like on it, and also check out our social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We've got a few extra videos coming up of kind of highlights of our various races, so I recommend checking that out, and you can see little snippets of our best broadcasts on Apex Racing TV, and also subscribe to the channel as well, because we've got loads more action from lots of different disciplines of motorsports. But for now, from myself, Sam Fitzpatrick, from Peter Mackay, and from Mark Chanter, we're going to say goodbye, and we will see you next week at Bathurst.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.